6 o'clock, February 3rd. Thank you all for coming. Did we, before we get going, goals and objectives, did we talk about, we're still going to have the meeting on March 3rd, correct? We're still good for that? Okay. I just want to make sure, I'll make sure I'm available. I'll be here for March 3rd. Anyway, okay, so let me see, going down the agenda, planning board goals for 21-22. King Street Common. We haven't heard anything about them coming before us, either formally or informally yet, Maren?
That's correct. Thinking that they just closed on that property in October. We hear from them within 6 months. That would be kind of light speed to have a conceptual plan ready to go by then.
Yep.
So I'm not surprised. If I could just for a moment go back to your first question about the next meeting.
Yep.
Are we going to be doing that Zoom or in person? It sounds to me like maybe Zoom or hybrid is preferred.
I don't care one way or the other. I think if they lift the mask mandate by the end of February, we should consider it. Let me put it this way. What do we have so far in front of us for it? Anything important? Public hearings, or is it just?
We'll have one new public hearing for Dirigible Brewing at 24 Porter Road. So I just have to make sure that I leave enough leeway in the public hearing notice that we could do either.
What's the board? Do you want to do one more Zoom and see how things shake out after that? Is that all right with everybody?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess so. We'll just leave it as a Zoom for right now.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
That way, if I'm still in Hawaii, I could probably do it from there. No, I'm going to be home. Don't. All right. So we're good with that. All right. So getting back onto King Street, 550. The only thing I want to add to that is I just want to talk to the board about how to do it moving forward. Maren just brought up site plan, special permit. I had her draw up a checklist that if and when they do ask us what to do, we can send it to them to give them an idea of what they need to go through the process. I kind of like to work with Maren and do it the way we did the point, being we're going to get a master plan, special permit before us, either formally or informally, work our way through that, because it's going to be so big. And we did the point in phases. When they came through for the market basket, which I believe was their first phase. I think that was the first one. We worked on that. They did the drainage calculations. We did the site plan, special permit approval for that. And then as they went to the next one, so it was an ongoing, it took a couple of years to get through it. The only thing that we would do or make them do right away was obviously traffic, because for the whole site, we would probably have to have that done before we move forward. The environmental stuff obviously needs to be done. I'm trying to think of what else off the top of my head, but it made more sense to do it because I believe by the time he's done, he's going to want to do the same thing Sam Park did and want to do it one lump at a time, A, for the bank from his financials aspect of it, and B, it's just too big a project to bite off and get all the drainage done and get all the site plan stuff done. And the gives us a little more, the ability to look at smaller bites of it. So I just want to throw that out there and see what everybody thinks about that as we eventually, whenever this comes before us, as we move forward. Anybody have any issues or ideas about it? Or my only point is that it worked really well for the point, and we do kind of have a blueprint to do it. I just want to see what you guys think about doing it. Granted, you weren't here when we did it, but Maren and I were here, and it went very well for the couple of years that it took for the point to get through us. And that's what it took, a couple of years. So just wanted to throw that out there. If anyone has any other ideas or any strong opinions one way or the other. Anna, what's up?
So I just wanted to comment that I think it would be great to be able to see an example of what you're talking about from the point, maybe just an outline, so that we get a sense of what the process was that you all went through for the point, because I think being able to see that will help us all look at that and say, okay, yeah, this seems reasonable for moving forward. So that would be helpful.
Okay. We'll get to it. My thought is to see charrettes and a site plan for the whole property, just a conceptual idea, and then break it down into the little components and go from there. But we can, I'm sure when Maren has 5 minutes, she doesn't know what to do with. She can pull up the old, I pulled up a couple of, just for my own edification, a couple of different, when it started, when we approved the site plan first and all that other stuff. We can get you a timeline and maybe everything's still on paper though, isn't it, Maren? Maybe we'll get you a couple of site plans that they came in every time. Sam and his engineer, Tim Powell.
I don't think we need that much detail. At least I don't. I was just more thinking in terms of like overall what the process was. This was the first thing we did, then this.
Okay, we can get you. We'll get something like that so you guys have a better idea what we're talking about.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no, thank you. Again, like I said, we'll move on to TDR. I just told Bartlett that I will get him Jerry's contact information so that he can talk directly with Jerry about how it stopped, why it stopped with Mark Ransicott and the members of the agricultural people.
Do we actually have to vote for the forms, or did we take care of that last time?
Forms? What forms are you talking about? Am I missing something?
Let's see. So we have the comments. Yeah, from the last meeting, I had said that the forms would be ready soon for the form-based code, the checklist,
checklist.
And the new revised application and the revised special permit and site plan description of that process. So it would be easier if you did take a vote on those.
Okay, but we don't have. It's not on our agenda. Did I miss it?
I did that under the King Street Common.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, you know why? Because I'm just looking at the paper agenda. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's fine. You want to do that now? You want to do it later? Do you want to talk about it when we actually have something to talk about TD, about the?
Actually, all I'm asking is that the board vote to adopt the updated forms.
Do you have any problems with the forms, Anna?
Me, no, but just a stickler. If you take a look at the top of page 3 of the Form 1 site plan, there's a widow, if you will. It just says applicant name, and it's kind of tucked in, and I don't want it to get lost. So if it could be moved up to page 2, that would be great. But that was it.
Great, thanks. And that's why I always appreciate another set of eyes on it.
Okay.
After I look at them for so long, I don't see.
Okay.
Yeah, but other than that, I would move that the planning board accept the forms created. I would move that the planning board vote to approve the following forms and to post these updated forms to the town website, which include Form 1B site plan and special permit application, Form 1H BC and KC special permit application supplement, Form 1H checklist, and site plan and special permit procedures.
Anyone want to second that?
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Bartlett?
Aye.
Jeff? Delisa?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye, yes.
And I'm an aye. Thank you. Okay, moving back, trying to get back on the agenda. Littleton Station. Okay, that's something we need to discuss. It's obvious we're not going to be ready for a Springtown meeting with Littleton Station, given the issues going on with the Governor Baker and his mandate, and town of Littleton working with the state as the quote unquote poster child for the Littleton Station stuff. I spoke with Delisa briefly about it, and I think we should probably bring the Longs in whenever it's convenient to talk to them about what the next step is and how we proceed, how we're thinking of proceeding with it, rather than they're going to be obviously disappointed that we're not going to be able to entertain an idea for Springtown meeting, because we don't know what we're going to be able to do with the state. So unless you want to go ahead with the plain old 40R and try to get it through with the town. But to me, it doesn't make sense to do one if we're going to eventually change it to whatever the state wants. But we need to do something before Springtown meeting for that, and to keep the Longs engaged in what the long-term plans are for out there. What's the rest of the board thoughts on this? Delisa, I'll start with you since I think you're still chair of it, right? Or did we?
No, because it's been disbanded.
Oh, I don't know if we took a formal vote yet.
Yeah, we did. No, I mean, I have no problem with the Longs coming in, but I think there's no way we can present anything for spring, or get anything ready for Springtown meeting. There's just too much up in the air.
Right. Anna, what do you think?
So I would agree. And in fact, I would think that given Littleton's status as a potential test site, or test case, I should say, that opens up different opportunities that we should explore.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I also don't want them, I hope they don't sell to like Amazon. That would be terrible. I mean, that is a concern.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're business people. They have to make some sort of return on their investment. And
I agree. And that's why I don't think we can leave them out in the dark.
No.
We should bring them in and see what their thoughts are, see how they want to move going forward and stuff like that. So I think it's better to engage them sooner rather than later. Maybe we'll see if we can get them on in March. March. See if we can put them on the agenda. Or I'm sure, Maren, you have Nate's. I think Nate's the contact. We have Nate's email. Maybe you can send them an email and see if they'd like to come to speak with us about.
And maybe, Maren, we could at that time give them an update on what we know thus far. And if there's any timeline, if the governor's office has indicated any kind of timeline.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, we do know the timeline when we would have to comply, and that's to have zoning in place by December 2024. But so that's several town meetings from now. But I think it is important to let them know that we are continuing to work on it. I have a meeting next week with the consultants that MHP is providing for us on this test case scenario.
Oh, good.
So we are,
Okay.
the town is moving forward with what the options might be. And
Yeah, because I certainly don't want to wait until 2024 if we don't have to.
No.
I just think that's really dangerous. We could end up with something we really don't want.
Mhm.
The good question would be, what does that do to the land beside the nursing home? Now it's mandated that we should think about that too.
Mhm.
Because Charlie, maybe we try to engage them now, because all of a sudden the governor has said that that's going to get rezoned. Maybe we rezone it to, we put some more senior housing in there I'm pretty smart sometimes. That'd be a great way to kind of tell them we want age in place stuff up there, and that we want to include it in the plan for Charlie Baker and rezone it whether they want to or not, because the governor's told us we have to. So.
Yeah, I think we will have the opportunity to look at several alternatives and see what the planning board and what the town would like to move forward with, and what.
Yep. Maybe the governor's office can help us push them along. Be nice if we could get connection through there. Would help all the people on Foster Street. And then, like I said, some age in place. It's perfect. We could put dementia care out there. We could put age in place stuff. We could put independent living. It's right next to the nursing home. It makes all the sense in the world to put a little wing off over there. But maybe we can bail upon the governor's people to talk to those people that won't refuse to talk to the lowly people in the town of Littleton. God, see, sometimes you leave me alone, I get good ideas. Anyway, we're back on track right again. Board member update. Oh, damn. Go ahead. You get me off my schedule here. You're mute. I like it when you mute.
Mr. Chair, so we kind of blew by transfer development rights, and I had a question that I wanted to ask. So given the fact that we have the working group on this, and we don't have anything yet for Springtown meeting this year.
Mhm.
If the working group really gets traction, and Mr. Harvey is on that working group, is there something that we can do to put a placeholder in there to be able to have for Springtown meeting and try to really work to get it done? Because there's going to be so much other stuff coming down the pike that, being able to work on this as a single topic,
Very good
I think
point.
would be really helpful to engage all of the different parties that are interested.
Okay. Martin, we have to put something in a placeholder by March. Is that when it has to be?
Yeah, the warrant would close on March 18th. Their select board is asking for all requests to be provided by March 17th.
We can obviously request a placeholder, and I think we're asking a lot from Bartlett and Matthew to try to get something. I mean, granted, I do understand Mark has done a lot of it, but when it was fractured and it ended, it didn't end well. I mean, that's the only thing. They were at an impasse. So maybe they can pick it up from there. New people, new thoughts. But yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe on next meeting, we can at least put a placeholder and ask to have a spot for it. It still gives us 2 more months to get something workable. That's a good idea, because you're right. We don't have an awful lot we're going to be able to do now that we can't do the train station. At least try to get that on the agenda.
Yeah, and I just was a listener on that particular meeting the other day, and it definitely sounds like it has momentum. So that's why I wanted to raise this. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, a good idea. Because like I said, our focus is we're not going to have much of a focus. We had a lot in the fall. We don't have a lot this spring, and we're probably going to have a lot in the fall too. So yeah, maybe while we have the lull, might not be a bad idea to try to tackle that. Good call. Board member updates. Anybody got anything? Did anybody talk to anybody? Kind of quiet, COVID. You don't have to. You can shout right in. You can interrupt me. It's okay.
So I just wanted to update on the CPC. So we met in January, and for a Springtown meeting, they are reviewing the planning board's request to fund open space and recreation, the open space and recreation plan for $30,000. So I think, Maren, you presented at select board and all went well there.
Yes.
Okay, great. So then it's coming back to the CPC to be able to approve that.
Great.
Yeah. And actually, I'll just take a moment to ask if you know when the next CPC meeting is scheduled for.
Yeah, let me look on my calendar real quick. I believe it's Wednesday, February 16th.
Thank you. I'll pencil that in.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Anna, have you been sworn into the Affordable Housing Trust yet? Or is that taken care of as Millie?
Millie has resigned.
Oh, okay. Okay. So have you? No.
I have not. No, I guess I thought I had to be confirmed by select board or town administrator. So if someone could check in on that, that would be great.
Bartlett, I thought we were all done with that. I thought we had done the switch and everything was all set to go, that Anna was going to take over for Millie. I thought it was it is a done deal, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, I mean, that's a clerk question of, do we have to vote, or I don't know what the procedure is, but
Okay.
I mean, that was the intent, to have Anna replace Millie.
Right. Because we have a meeting next week when I think I'm gone for that.
Yeah, it is. We do have a meeting next week, the trust.
No, that's right. I'm still around. I'm gone the following week. That's right. Okay. All right. We'll find out for you, Anna, just so that you can, if we do have a meeting next week and you can be on it, that would be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more board member updates?
as a representative of the TDR group, I'm going to say it's difficult to really be sure of the momentum after one meeting, but there sure is, there was a lot of energy there and enthusiasm, and not a whole lot of specific sense of direction, but I think the intent is to make it, well, I don't know, it's as inclusive as possible and use as many different ways of making it work. And there are a lot of ways that it works. We're getting the TDR handbook, which explains in detail how to do it and what people have done and what's worked and what's not worked. So anyhow, there's quite a lot of energy and people are very interested in it.
It's sad that it died the way it did a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Hopefully maybe different eyes, different people on the board.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're deliberately working with a lot of other groups besides the agriculture community, and there's still a basic divide. I don't think any TDR programs in the country use time-limited transfer, which is what the agricultural community wants. They don't want to commit to permanent, but
Yeah.
There are, I think, other programs, and I think there are other groups in town that can use TDR and that will use TDR. So we're going to try to find how to make that work.
A comfortable medium. Yes. If at all possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of where it hung up. That and the money with the crux.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Anna, you have anything else? Jeff, you want to tell us where you're hiding?
Oh, I'm at my parents' house in Southern California.
Oh, nice.
So I had talked to Maren about, I think it would help. She had shared with us the letter about what is it called, Maren? The
housing choice designation.
Housing choice designation. And it stated explicitly the type of grants that we've gotten through having that designation. And it, totals about $500,000. And, from last month's transportation meeting, they're going after some more grants, for active pedestrian crossings and things like that. And I guess it just brings up with this new MBTA communities that these are grants that we would not be able to get if we don't go. Yeah, I know we're all agreed to go forward with zoning, but ultimately these rezonings will come before the town, and we should, show them what the stick is. We know, if we don't do that. So that's my comment. And back to, the long property. I don't think there's a difference in outcome whether we do 40R or rezone it for medium density housing. It's essentially going to be the same outcome. And maybe there's a different timeline, but, I don't think that it's terrible for that particular parcel.
Okay. I think there might be money involved if we wait and the state says, if you do this, we're going to, give help out. Maybe we get some more affordability. The problem is we just
don't know. Yeah.
So, anyone else? Delisi, everyone else is good?
Yep.
How about minutes? From
Yeah, I didn't get the draft minutes to you.
Oh, okay. Well, that was easy. FY budget process. Are we overspending again?
This is our ask for next fiscal year. The ask is, support the reorganization to the land use department, includes, let's see, with a new assistant town planner. I think the request was around $60,000 or $63,000 a year. I think Anna mentioned it when I was speaking with her earlier today. The answer is yes, it would be a good idea for the planning board to do a letter, if you so choose, to the Select Board and Finance Committee in support of the budget request. Because
Okay.
we're in the time frame now where the committees are considering how to put the complete municipal budget together.
So that would probably fall upon the chair to kind of foster a letter, because it's probably a little gauche if you send a letter supporting yourself. Right? Do I have to do it? Probably. All right. I'll find out from Anthony how to go about it, but I will. I'll send something forward about that.
Well, and from what you were saying, Maren, the folks are meeting for the first time this Saturday, right? Isn't that the first meeting?
For the third time this Saturday, January 18th, several departments presented. January 25th, Land Use Department presented, including the Planning Board budget. And then this Saturday, the big three, highway, schools, and police and fire, I think, all present on Saturday. And then after that, my understanding is that the committees take some time to consider the overall budget, and then we'll get back together and put it all together sometime after this Saturday. So getting input for Saturday or soon after that would be good.
Okay, great. That's good information to know. One of the things that I just wanted to share with the group was that because Littleton is getting, I think it's $3 million in ARPA funds, but about $400,000 of that is going toward staffing shortages that have to be filled. And so I was wondering whether or not the additional $600,000 that isn't being used, whether or not that could be part of the ask, is whether or not in the next fiscal year that there can be an accommodation for this assistant position, and then in future years, could the ARPA dollars be used? So just some food for thought.
Anything else, or well, we got 3 minutes. We don't know what to do with. Anyone want to talk about anything else that's on their mind, or speaking before we start with get back to the Terrace Company?
Well, one thing that became clear to me in the TDR is that that group is going to rely on the planning board to work on zoning, because without motivation from the developers to buy extra places, extra space, TDR isn't going to work. So there has to be a way to figure out how to incentivize developers.
Have you spoken or talked at all about using the town as the bank, or do you want to do it a straight? Because we talked about that too.
Yeah, I've suggested that be a topic of discussion in a future meeting, but we haven't dealt with it yet.
Because Mark addressed that when we had started it, and just for the rest of the board. So the town basically gets the money for it, for the transfer, and people come and developers buy it from the town. So like they could get, so it's not going from one site to the next site, it's going into a bank, so to speak. The town acts as the bank, and then through the TDR process gives them a higher density by selling them back the rights to put more housing in. Get the money, we dole it out for conservation, for buying properties, or however we want to protect them, and then we act as the bank. That was one suggestion as how to do it. The other was straight back and forth between the TDR, the buying and sending sites, between the landowners and directly with the developers. So.
Well, the other issue was, first, Mark, the town wouldn't get the money initially. Initially, the town would pay the money to the sender, and then they would get their money back when they sold it to the developer. But Bartlett, I think you should consider that, because the TDR thing is a time, there's a time mismatch, and I don't know how we get over that unless we have a banking type arrangement. By the time someone's ready to send, someone might not be ready to receive, and
right. Right, that timing is quite, I mean, it's difficult to see that it's going to work well all the time. There is a model in which the sending and receiving areas aren't defined, but the process will still work, that a developer can find somebody who's willing to sell the rights and then move them, but the town there's no control over where he puts them or who sells them. So that's a model that I'm not quite sure I understand, but there's just a lot of different models of how this works. But the town being a bank is easy to understand, and it works well when the town is willing to participate as a bank, buying property and holding it for some length of time before a developer wants to buy it.
And I think there's a mechanism where the town could get actually money. I think Mark told us that the state will actually fund the bank for a limited period of time to
Get it started.
It's not our money coming out, but they will loan us the money at zero interest for like 4 or 5 years, not a long period of time, but a couple of years, so that we could get it set up. And the town being the bank is about the easiest way to facilitate this, but
I agree.
but we can get money from the state for that. But
No, yeah, Mark, if I recall, there was draft legislation that was proposing something like that. There was the legislators is still working on that, I believe.
okay. All right, well, as we move forward, we'll find out. Okay, well, we're back, and I think we need to get moving on with our agenda. We have a 6:30. Do we have anybody for the 6:30 consolidated public hearing? Amended Aquifer Water Resource District special permit for the Gutierrez property at 225 Taylor Street.
Yep, yeah. Dave will help me promote. Ed Scioli is present for that. And
Okay.
then Ed can let us know if anybody else. And meanwhile, I can read the hearing notice if you're ready.
Okay,
Okay, so the Town of Littleton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, February 3rd, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom to consider the application to modify special permits pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, and the Code of the Town of Littleton zoning, major commercial or industrial use special permit, sections 17386 through 17389, and Aquifer and Water Resource District, section 17361 through 17364. Zoom link will be posted to the town website calendar at littletonma.org. The property location is 225 Taylor Street and Liberty Square, assessors map R10, parcels 3, 6, and 7. Applicant is Taylor Street Littleton Trust, in care of the Gutierrez Company of Burlington, Massachusetts. The applicant is seeking to modify the existing special permits for a master planned major commercial or industrial use and the existing Aquifer District special permit for a period for a proposed office development to extend the time frame to begin construction of this project. And then the application can be viewed at the Planning Board and Town Clerk's office during their business hours or online at the town website. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed plan should attend Zoom or provide written comments to the Planning Board office. My email address by February 1st, Bartlett Harvey Clerk.
thank you. Just to refresh everybody's memory, Mr. Scioli and the Gutierrez Company was before us, I believe, a couple of years ago. Anna, you were chair at the time when they came. This is these are the permits that were done 15, 20 years ago to build an office building that has never been built. All the drainage, all the engineering, everything was done. And I don't want to speak for Mr. Scioli, but I believe you're just coming to ask that we continue to renew the permits as they were done 20 years ago, just so that the permitting process is left intact. But I'll let him address that. But this has been an ongoing thing that every board has done every past couple of years, because we give them like a 2-year extension. But I think everybody realizes the office building is probably not as robust as it once was. But anyway, Mr. Scioli, I'll let you address the board.
Yes, thank you, Mark. That was perfectly spoken. Good evening. I'm Ed Scioli with the Gutierrez Company. And just to recap what Mark said, that's pretty much where we're at. This is a build-to-suit project. The demand for office space has not been as strong as we'd like. We still are hopeful to develop the project and the site. We've invested a lot of resources into it. We continue to market the property. We continue to maintain all the entitlements for the property at the local and the state level. And we're here before you tonight to just extend those entitlements to continue to market it, the property for development.
Does the board have any questions?
Oh, I think I made it. What is the term of extension?
We've been giving them, Martin, 2 years out of whack, right? Yeah, 2 years.
24 months.
Yeah. Do you have any interest or anything going on with it, or is it still just?
Yeah, no, we do get foot traffic. It's not to the level where we could kick something off. You have to have a certain amount of square footage to finance it. Basically, that's what we're looking at. But for first-class office space, we haven't seen the demand that we'd like to see. We do see it in our other properties and our other holdings along 495, including Westford, right up the road. So we're pretty bullish, still bullish on this site, and obviously want to develop it.
Okay.
Yes, Anna, you had a question?
Hi, Mr. Scioli.
Hi.
I wanted to ask, what is the thought about this particular development design? Has it been the same since 2003, or has it changed over the years?
No, the program has remained the same. We made one small modification the last time we were before you folks in 2020. There was an internal driveway that was originally permitted and approved. After discussions with members of the Planning Board and Conservation Commission, eliminated that internal driveway and not to disturb any work in the 50-foot wetlands buffer. So that's really the only modification that we've made to the original design when we started this process back in 2003.
Okay, so if the design hasn't changed, I guess to some degree, I just ask as a general pondering, if you haven't changed anything in 18 years and you haven't had any bites, what's keeping you from changing the design to something else?
Well,
or from just letting the permit drop and kind of starting from scratch with somebody who does come along? I'd like to get a better understanding of that.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's a decision by others here at my firm. I'm involved with the entitlement process and to maintain what we have active and current. So all I can speak to is that we're an office park developer. We have been for over 40 years, and that's been the status quo to try to develop the site as such. So that's all I can speak to.
Maybe I'll jump in real quick on that one. So they have a permit. They've spent a couple $100,000 between the drainage, the engineering, the zoning stuff, and everything else. So if you have the permit in place, and maybe somebody comes in and wants to build something a little smaller or something else because the economy is different now, might make it easier for them to market it. We're not giving them anything. We're just affirming that the permit that they issued 18 years ago is still in force, and it probably makes it easier for them to try to sell or develop the property. I have to be honest, back 20 years ago, because of their the way they did their permit, they actually bought open space for this project. We have, correct me if I'm wrong, Martin, we might have 20 acres of open space that the Gutierrez company had to buy to make their percent impervious work and everything else like that. We want to keep all of that in place on the hopes that somebody's going to do it. It may not be an office building by the time we're all done with it, but at least if the permits are there, they've done all the engineering for that site. I think that's all we're hoping something goes in there, but we want to keep the engineering and the traffic, everything in place so that it might be easier to actually get something in there after 18 years. That's all we're trying to do. We're not asking them to redesign the site or anything else like that. We're just trying to keep the permits set up there. You know, I think the whole board wants to eventually see something go in there rather than vacant space for 18 years. That's all we're doing, is just giving them the right to continue the way they've been for 18 years, and hopefully something will pop there. Rome wasn't built in a day, you know. Anyway, anyone else want to add anything to that?
So, well, I did have a follow-up question, and because there were so many past permit approvals in there that I want to make sure I read the information right. On page 63 of the application, it talked about installing new water monitoring wells. Is that correct? And if so, is that something that was done from the previous time?
Nothing's been done to the site, Anna. Our original decision was for them to put monitoring wells if they developed the site. The site's left.
That was from the original decision.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
So it's still
when developed. Okay.
right. It's still a wide open field. You guys haven't done any improvement. You haven't cleared anything. It's a 60-acre parcel. I forget. It's been so long.
56, yeah, it's close to that.
56 left in its natural state. Yeah. So they haven't done anything to it.
Okay.
Right. Does anyone else on the board have any questions or concerns?
No, I don't have an issue with renewing it. I'm just wondering if this permit allows other uses besides office park. I mean, Mark, you mentioned housing, and I don't know if that's a permitted use or.
It's not a permitted use. I don't think I mentioned housing. It's permitted for an office building right now, and maybe it could be a warehouse, maybe it could be something else afterwards, but at least the engineering that's been done for an office building is still in place. So that they could probably come in and ask us for a modification to it and decide to put, I guess, yeah, you could say that. It's not zoned housing. It's an industrial use. So yeah, maybe a different industrial use would work there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've given it for the past 18 years just to try to get. I can remember years ago there was talk about a mall going in there. Remember, Maren, what was it? Like the thing down in Rentham.
The outlet mall.
An outlet mall was talked about down there. There's been a lot of different discussions about what's going, but obviously office space is not on anybody's buzz list right now.
Well, why wouldn't we renew the permit? I can't think of any reason why we wouldn't. And
I don't see a reason why not.
so
to anyway.
let's just do it.
Do it. Okay. Do you want to make a motion that we approve the renewal of the permit?
Want to check and see if there's any public comment in the public hearing part?
All right. Do you have anybody's hand raised, Mara? I didn't see anybody, but do you?
Yeah, there's one. Megan Forrest Carlton.
Yes, thank you.
Hi,
Megan,
I
are
was
you
just
there?
wondering, is Amazon plan on going in there?
I have no knowledge of that, no.
You're just renewing the plans. You have no plans to develop right now. You're just trying to keep the permits going.
Exactly.
Okay. Megan, did that answer your question? I think she's off already, but
No, she's
Anybody-
still on.
That answers part of it.
okay. Any other questions?
So,
Megan, can you give us your address, by the way, so that Maren has it for a record, by the way? I meant to ask you that when you first got on.
221 Taylor Street.
Okay, thank you. Do you have another question?
So, what is the plan that's going to be bordering my property? Is it still like a road going up beside it?
Is your property right next to the, yeah, you'd have to probably, you see the map there now, is your,
That's Foster Street there, Taylor Street up here. 221, I'm not sure which parcel that is. If it's this house here, or if it's this one here. But it's the same site plan that was approved in 2020 and very similar to the site plan that was approved in, what did we decide, 2003?
Okay. I didn't see, I didn't find this one, this map. That helps a lot.
Okay.
all right. Okay, did that answer your question, I hope?
It did.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else have their hand raised? I don't see anybody.
No.
Having said that, do you want to entertain a vote? Delisa, you don't want to make a motion that we approve the special permit, site plan special permit as amended in 2020 for another 2
Yes,
years?
I will make, okay, yes, I will make, I propose that we, what do I need to say again?
We're gonna
Motion.
close the hearing first.
How about if we make a motion to close the hearing?
Okay, I'll make a motion to close the hearing. I can handle that.
Does anyone want to second that?
I'll second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye. Anna, are you an aye? Yep. Okay, so now you can make your motion, Delisa, to approve the,
Okay, I make the motion that we approve the special permit, originally
modified in 2020.
modified in 2000 and what? 20.
Okay. Anyone want to second that?
I second.
All those in favor? Anna,
Yes,
Bartlett,
Yes.
Jeff,
Aye.
and Delisa.
Yes.
And I'm an aye. Thank you all. Okay, great. We,
Okay, I will presume that was both the Aquifer and Water Resource District and the master planned or major commercial industrial.
yep,
Did that all at once?
we did them all at once.
Okay, thank you.
That's how efficient we are.
Awesome.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Skilly.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate
Good
it.
luck.
Take care.
Good luck. Yes, please.
Yes.
Been a while. Okay, so we have a 6:45 public hearing, shared residential driveway for 9 Air Road. Do we have anybody to do the presentation of that?
Yeah, we do. And Dave will help me again. Let's see, Greg Roy. And then Greg, you'll have to let me know who else from your team.
Do you want to put up the plan, Maureen, or do you want them to put the plan up, or? How do
Well,
you wanna
let's
handle it?
start with the hearing notice.
Okay,
Just a
get
moment.
testy.
I've lost.
If Kyle Mann is here, he should probably be elevated to.
Okay, yep, Melissa's on the list, so yes, thank you.
Great.
Is it Carl Mann, not Melissa Mann?
And then Sherry, I'm presuming that's Cheryl Gould.
Yep,
Okay,
she, I believe, is representing Kyle as well.
awesome.
Sorry, I can't see those participants, so I'm not sure who's in the meeting.
Yep, no, that's good. So we'll start with the hearing notice. Town of Littleton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, February 3rd, 2022. It's, whoops, that's the wrong one. 6:30, we're not at 6:30 anymore. We are at 6:45 PM via Zoom to consider the application for a shared residential driveway to provide access to 7, 9, 11, and 13 Air Road pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 9, and the Littleton zoning bylaw, Sections 173, 125 through 173-127. Zoom link will be posted to the town website calendar. Applicant Mighty Small Trust, Kyle Mann trustees, owner M&M Realty Trust. Application and plans can be viewed at the planning board and town clerk's office during their business hours or online at the town website. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed application and plans should attend the Zoom or provide written comments to the planning board office to my email by February 1st. Signed, Bartlett Harvey, clerk. We do have plans to share. And hopefully you're looking at the plans. Is that right?
Yep.
That's
Okay,
right.
thank you.
All right, so I'll introduce myself. My name's Kyle Mann. I'm under contract to purchase the 4 approved A&R lots that are located at 9 Air Road. We're here tonight, as Maren had mentioned, requesting with a revised subdivision plan, requesting a special permit that allows the access to all 4 houses off of one single common driveway. There are a lot of improvements to this plan that in relation to the originally approved plan. In this plan, we've kept in mind an improved safety, entering and exiting the development, aesthetics for neighbors, people living in the development, as well as people in town that drive by daily, all while reducing runoff and improving the impact inside the wetlands buffer located at the front of the site. I appreciate your time discussing this matter tonight. I'm going to pass this off to Greg Roy to go over some key pieces that went into the development of this plan. If Greg wants to go ahead and discuss that.
Sure. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate your time this evening. Greg Roy with Dilson Roy. And I know that I think probably most of you, if not all of you, are pretty familiar with the site. So I won't go over the history here, but I just wanted to pick it up. I guess starting about 3 or 4 months ago, Kyle contacted us as he was under contract to purchase the property. And we started exploring pretty quickly after that the possibility of going to a single access for the proposed development of the 4 lots. And so as you can recall, there were 2 shared driveways proposed. There was an additional driveway access to the towards the east that would have accessed 2 lots, and in the same locations we're proposing before you tonight was a second driveway that would have accessed the additional 2 lots. So as you can see, we've consolidated things into one access. The curb cut for that for the one that you have before you is the same as the previously proposed access point. It's just that it would now serve all 4 houses. As Kyle said, we think that's superior from a site access standpoint, safety standpoint, as Air Road, as you all are aware, is a fairly busy road. So we've designed that pursuant to regulations relative to horizontal and vertical alignment. Drainage is managed in very similarly to how it was proposed in the previous plan. We're proposing swales along the driveway down to a few detention basins, infiltration areas along Air Road that you can see in sort of a darker hatched area. And you can see the 4 houses located in the peach color there, and they're clustered around a turnaround cul-de-sac style turnaround at the terminus of the common driveway. We are proposing connection to the municipal water. So we will have, and I know Kyle is working directly with the water department on that, also to get Mass DOT permit for that curb cut, as the street opening that would be required to do those as we speak. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention was we are proposing to service these 4 lots with a shared septic system. So you can kind of see that on the upper right-hand side of the site. There's a larger rectangle of area there, and that's where we intend to provide the leaching capacity for all 4 of the lots. We have done the soil testing for for all of the lots and for that shared area. So we're working on doing the design, septic design, and we'll have of course, a subsequent application before the Board of Health for that in the next couple weeks or so. And then I guess I'll end with just by saying we do propose to provide some plantings along both along the common driveway, but also along the frontage of Air Road to provide some buffering, kind of soften the edge there. There was a previously approved planting plan that was approved by the Conservation Commission as part of the previous approved plans. And we do intend to keep that planting plan in force. We may modify it or enhance it slightly. And we will be going back to the Conservation Commission. Kyle's already been before the commission with this plan on an informal basis, but we will be going back formally in the next few weeks to ask them for an amended order of conditions to accommodate this revision. So I think I'll leave it at that. I'm happy to take, Kyle or I are happy to take any questions that you or the public may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Does the board have any questions? I'll open up. Anyone want to start? Anyone have any questions or concerns? I'll start with you, Jeff. I see your hand up.
I saw the vegetation, the screening, and I'm really interested in that. I think, if it's described in the Conservation Commission, then that might be enough. So on the plan, you're showing private septic systems on each lot. Is that to prove that? Yeah, okay. So if you did have to go to private septic systems, that would be the locations in which they appear to be accommodated. So the other thing I'd like to point out is that there are I don't see any garage unders. They're all, they're all,
Correct. Yes.
yeah, which I think is desirable. So basically you're bringing the road up to a plateau, which the 4 houses will be in with the circle. I don't know, how other board members feel about it, but this is a much better plan than what we've seen before.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions or concerns? Bartlett?
Yeah, I also think it's a much better plan. The single entrance works a lot better than the 2. I believe one of the comments that I read today, looking at this package, was that the site for the individual septic system in the lower left corner wouldn't work because it's too close to the water table. I think that was the comment from the Board of Health, the Neshoba Board of Health. So I would like that clarified. And then just as a side note, on the application, at the top of it, the location is listed as being in Groton. And
Sorry about that.
If it is in Groton, I'm not sure I could vote for it, but because I don't live there.
Yeah. That's our mistake. I apologize. We'll certainly correct that. I'm happy to answer that question if it's appropriate. The first question with the septic. We prepared this plan and submitted it, I think, long about the 6th of January or sometime beginning of January. And we've subsequently gone out and done some additional soil testing on the property with the Board of Health to not only test for the proposed shared system, but to fill in some additional testing that we needed to prove that individual lots could be serviced by individual septic systems. And since this plan was published, we are actually going to move that proof individual leaching area to behind the house, because for that exact reason, that the soils are deeper as you go up behind the house. So there's plenty of room on that lot, and we have testing to back that. So when we go before the Board of Health formally, that will be shifted to that further from the main road.
Thank you.
Just a clarification, you're talking about the house that's, the first house on the right?
The left.
On the left,
Left,
the closest to air.
Okay,
yeah, lot number 4. Yeah.
if you put it behind the house, isn't the lot line like right behind the house? And can you put the plan up again real quick? Yeah, the lot line's right behind the house. So how are you gonna put that?
Well,
septic?
That's so, but when I say behind, I mean between the house and the slope. So the opposite, on the opposite side of the house is the common driveway.
I'm looking at the one over to the left-hand side. Your driveway comes down from the back side. You got
Yeah.
the slope over there. You've got there's no way you're fitting a septic system by where that driveway is, where the slope is. There is no way that, you're the engineer, but I don't see how that's gonna fit there.
Well, I'm telling you we can, but I mean, we're certainly, we'll work that out with the board, right behind the house. So not, so,
So if you're looking at the front of the house, it's behind the house.
so there's probably like, so to the, as you're looking at this plan view, to the right, I mean, excuse me, to the left of the house, between the slope and the house.
I'm looking at the house in the front that is right, the furthest over heading towards air. It's the first loop to the left of the circle, and the circle, the pavement's right there. I don't know where you think the septic system can go, because the pavement takes up all of that and the slope is right there. So I just don't understand where the septic.
There's about 50 feet from the back of the house to the edge of the slope, and that's where we're supposed to put it. I'm not sure if you're looking at it different or not, but
Looking at
I can't point at it because I don't have control.
Mark, what you're thinking of the back of the house is what they're thinking is the side of the house.
No, I'm thinking the back of the house goes straight up heading towards New Estate Road.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
There's 50 feet. He's saying there's 50 feet between that and where the slope starts.
Right.
Well, you got a driveway right there. Am I missing?
No,
No.
we're
It's not
talking
that
about
side.
the left side of the long left side of the house, not the short.
Okay.
Someone use a cursor to,
You're talking the side of the house, then. That's not really,
Well, it's the back.
I don't know how that's the
The
back.
house,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because you're assuming where the driveway is the front.
that's
No,
the
I'm assuming
side.
the driveway is the back. The front is facing, the front.
Who
is-
has the cursor?
I have a cursor, but it's not showing.
I have
Let me
mine
put
on
this
it,
way.
but
The front of the house is facing Air Road. The back of the house is the back.
No, it's not facing a road, Mark. It's facing the shared driveway.
yeah, sorry, that's
Okay.
good. That's sorry, I didn't explain that.
And you still think it's gonna fit right there with the, all right, well, you
Yeah.
know what, I just wanted to clarify that.
No,
Okay.
that's fine. I appreciate it. Sorry, I didn't explain that well enough,
Okay,
but
all right.
that is our intention.
Okay, so I'm gonna go, Anna, do you have any questions or concerns?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in terms of what I read on the plans, at least I think I saw it correctly, that the slope is at 40% and it's 50 feet high. Is that correct?
On the right, so the slopes the existing slopes you're talking about, like the edge of along the property lines, yeah. So we're about a 2-to-1 slope, I believe, on the right and the back, and a 3-to-1 on the left excuse me, on the right. I said that all wrong. I'm sorry. Hold on. On the left side, on the right side of the site, it's about a 3-to-1, and that's per the plan that we had prepared 2.5 years ago. And then on the back of the site and along the left side, I think that slope is a 2-to-1 slope. And those grades on the plan are the as-built conditions as that exists today. So we're not proposing to change those. Those are already built.
So just even looking at it from afar, it still continues to create concern in terms of making sure that any future homeowner is actually safe from any sort of degradation of that slope. So can you talk about what's being done. I mean, clearly it represents some concerns for folks still living on Slay Lane Road. So can you talk about the slope component of it?
So I don't know of any issues with stability on the slopes unless there's information that I am not privy to. But from what the site's been, that slopes have been stabilized with loam and seeded, and they were constructed as we had proposed in the initial plan. So I don't know of any stability issues unless you or anybody else has any issues with that. But they've been stabilized, restored and stabilized, and I expect continue. And we don't intend to. We intend to let those continue to. We don't intend to touch those as part of this 4-lot development. Our limit of work is at the toe of the slope, and we'll the lawn areas will be at the lower portion. We don't intend to do any additional work on those slopes. We just intend to let them continue to stabilize and naturalize over time.
And so by stabilize and naturalize, what are they eventually going to look like?
And so eventually you'll probably you'll get some growth on them. I mean, we loamed and seeded them, so they're not, it's not like they're, well, should say they were loamed and seeded. So they'll establish grass first, and then you'll get probably some brush that'll grow there and some trees eventually that'll start to sprout up. But we don't intend to do any further modifications of those slope areas at all.
Okay, so I just want to go back real quick, and you'll need to please work with me here in terms of the language. So when I see that the slope is at 40%, I think about families with young children climbing slopes becomes dangerous. That whole scenario there. So describe again. I know you use terms like it's a 1-to-3 ratio and a 1-to-2 ratio on one side. What does that really mean?
So 1-on-3 means for every one vertical foot, you go 3 feet horizontal. So, you're 3 feet horizontal to 1 foot vertical. 2-on-1 is 2 feet horizontal to 1 foot. So that's typically how we describe those slopes.
So it's stair stepped, if you will, then
it's continuous. It's just, that's how you describe the angle of the slope. So by percentage, a 1-to-1 slope would be 100%. I mean, I'd have to do the math for you. I'm not sure if the percentages calc out right, but 100% would be a 1-to-1 slope. So we're less than that. Obviously, we're at our steepest slope there is a 2-to-1, and then as you go towards the on the easterly side, it's that 3-to-1 slope that we had proposed. So and all those slopes have, like I said, all those slopes have been stabilized I mean, I guess I can't speak to kids climbing on it, but they've, from a stability issue, I think things have been stabilized out there.
Can I weigh in? I don't know what I understand the 1-to-1, the 1-to-2, but this percentage I'm not getting, because I'm trying to allay Anna's concerns, because what's there is not unusual or remarkable in its steepness, but a 1-to-1 slope would actually be a 45-degree angle, if you could imagine that.
Right.
So a 1-to-2 slope is more like a 30-degree angle. So we're going from 1-to-1, 1-to-8. So yeah, I don't know about the percentages. I don't get that.
Well, the percentage is just out of 100. So out of 100 horizontal feet. So
okay, on
a 1-to-1 slope, yeah, it's just a different way of.
The thing is, those slopes are there for us to see. And I think of, if you go back behind the point, oh my God, that slope there, which they made, is, I don't know, it's maybe 1-to-1. I mean, it's really steep. You can barely walk on it. So I guess my view is that it's not remarkably steep. I wouldn't want it in my backyard, but I don't see that it's remarkable or unsafe.
So,
well, and and your comment just now, Jeff, is sort of what I was thinking about. If you just said, yeah, I wouldn't want it in my backyard. Well, why would we, as a planning board, allow something like that in somebody else's backyard in something that we're approving? So,
I don't agree with you on that, because I think that there's a lot of lots that this planning board and other planning boards have approved, which are terrible. And, but yet work within the guidelines. I don't know what you would propose to do with these lots. Once the soil's been removed, what would be the remedy that would make you comfortable with them? To fill them back up?
I think some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know, let's be realistic here.
So recognizing that's not it. So then what else can the engineering firm recommend for this particular situation? And maybe it requires a site visit.
Well, and so Anna, that's one of the things I was going to ask is, my understanding is that the peer review has not been conducted yet. So I almost feel like this whole conversation is premature until we hear back from Green International on peer review. I mean, I want to hear what they have to say.
Well, you bring up a good point, but we have to decide if we're going to have them look at the slope. If we bring Green into it, they're looking at the shared driveway. Okay. I
would like them to look at the slope. Anna, I'm very concerned about it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. You know, I'd invite you all to go to Gray Farm and drive around. And there are these slopes that were created as part of that subdivision.
Jeff, I'm not arguing.
Some people have completely ignored them, and some people have made terraces and landscaped, and
that's fine. That's fine.
One at a time.
I'm not comfortable with them.
If I could add at 1.2 when it's appropriate.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd just like to touch on the fact that so we already have the 4 approved A&R lots that are ready for development at this point, with the slopes exactly in place the way that they are now in the stabilized form that they are. This plan that we brought in front of you actually greatly improves the setback of the proposed houses from the slope. So it gives these new proposed houses more of a backyard. The original plan that is already approved, the house on lot number 4 and lot number 2 are really lot number 1 are really tucked into the slopes, and this actually gives a great improvement on that already stabilized slopes compared to the already approved subdivision plan. So
thank you. You keep talking about this being stabilized. This was stabilized in September. We haven't even gone through winter or spring season of it yet. I agree with Delisa and Anna. You've done no hydrogeological about it. You've dropped the grading down 50 feet. We have no idea what the water table is going to do to the slope in the spring when it gets wet. So I think when we do need to have Green take a look at the shared driveway. Maybe we have them look at the slope to make sure everything's good with the slope.
I'm sorry. Has Littleton Water looked at it as well?
Well, Littleton Water is on the call right now. I don't know if Corey wants to weigh in. I think their concern was at first because we had heard that they were going to use 4 wells in the system. Now that Greg has told us and Kyle has told us that they're going to be using town water, I think that probably satisfies a lot of their concerns. But I have one other thing before we get some other people. I see Sherry has her hand up. This is an ongoing project that had a gravel permit involved with it. And you took 50 feet of gravel out and created these slopes. We have a letter from the abutters, and we have I believe a letter from the town that the mitigation that was proposed as the final solution to the gravel permit has not been done. No plantings up on the top of the ridge. I don't think there's a fence that's supposed to be up there. The houses haven't been power washed. I want to know where we're at as far as this resolution of the of the gravel permit for these 4 lots. Can you answer that, Kyle? Or
I myself cannot. No, I'm here to discuss the special permit for the proposed plan. Up until this point, I've had nothing to do with this site, the so-called gravel removal operation. I'm not familiar with any agreements with neighbors. I'm just here with a revised plan from the originally approved.
Okay, well, I think we need to address that issue before we finalize your issue. I don't know how the board feels about it, but if the agreements that were done for the gravel permit are not taken care of, I as a board member wouldn't feel comfortable. We can approve it subject to making sure it was done. We can do it a couple of different ways, but I've been telling, and Myron, you can correct this. There's a list of outstanding issues that were supposed to be part of the gravel permit being signed off back in September that haven't been done.
We have reference to a complaint that came in that says things weren't done. I don't have a letter from select board office or building department on
Okay.
exactly what is and is not done. I just heard that issue from the other day, so we don't have
Okay,
have
so
asked the question and don't have a response yet. There hasn't been time for that.
I understand, Kyle, it's not your responsibility, but we'll make sure that issue is addressed so that you know about it before.
Yeah, and I can discuss that with the owners and address on who's gonna deal with that themselves. And I'm happy to have that discussion.
Okay.
But tonight I was hoping to stick with the improved plan that I have because
Mhm.
essentially
Okay, I understand. So, Anna, do you have anything else, or Delise, you have anything else to add? Go ahead.
So I would actually concur in hearing this information about the soil removal permit, being able to get an understanding of where that sits would be very important. And I would think that for Mr. Mann coming in here, that it would be important for you to understand as well, especially if you're looking at acquiring the property. I think that I recognize that this is an A&R, but in a typical situation like this, we would be looking at the aquifer. And in a typical other site situation, this would be an aquifer special permit. And especially given the fact that there has been so much touching of the soil here, that, that would be something that, if at all possible, for folks to be able to weigh in on as to whether or not that's something we need to take a look at here as well. So I wanted to turn back real quick to the application specifically for this, and that is, so Mr. Mann, at the bottom of page 5 of the application, it asks a question as to what party you play in this, and it was not answered, so that needs to be answered.
Which party myself
Mm-hmm.
plays in this development?
In the application that you submitted.
So I'm applying for the special permit myself as I'm under contract to purchase the land. So I would purchase the land with the special permit and develop this proposed plan.
Okay, what I'm saying is that the application itself needs to be amended so that you can identify that yourself.
Okay.
You just need to put your name on it.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. Yeah.
And I would just say that it's a little challenging to follow who everybody is in here, because we have 3 different names associated with this. So it is your name, Mr. Kilcummins, the trustee of the P&M Realty Trust. Then there's M&M.
So I think those are the previous are the owners now, and I'm the purchaser. So however that gets swapped around, I'm under contract to purchase the land and essentially I'm actually under contract to purchase the land as the originally approved lot. So what I did was I'd gone back through meeting minutes that you guys had during previous discussions here, and on July 28th, I believe it was Jeff or somebody actually brought up the idea of a single common driveway, expressing safety concerns and things like that. So even though I'm actually under contract to purchase what's proposed and approved, I have gone beyond and invested a lot of money and time into this plan to bring in front of you guys, because in that meeting, this was what had been discussed, and I agree that this is a much better plan, and so that's why I've taken the time to come here. So this plan is just something that me and Greg Dilson I've created to try and improve this project in a way. And I believe that that's exactly what this plan does.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I have another question in reference to the driveway, and that is, who will maintain the driveway? How will that be worked out?
So it'll be, and I think Sherry has her hand raised, and I think she can give a little bit more information on that. But the whole thing with it being, there's going to be easements for utilities. There's going to be easements for the common septic area in the back, and it'll all just be essentially one associated easement. So there'll be an association where the homeowners will all chip in essentially, and that will cover plowing, maintenance of the septic, maintenance of any utilities, and drainage, things like that. Mowing of common areas, which there aren't really any common areas, but that would all be addressed in the associated easement and association terms. So,
Well, okay, it's starting to sound a little bit like a subdivision if there's going to be an association.
well, it's just due to the common septic, which is okay in the town of Littleton. There would have to be some sort of an agreement amongst. I mean, that's not an unusual thing. I wouldn't say. You guys would know better than me, but I think that other projects have been in front of you that have a very similar way about them.
Okay, I have two more questions, Mr. Chair. So, in terms of the notes on the site plan, it says demolition and remove building in the construction sequencing. Is this the old barn? Is that what that is referencing?
Yeah, it could be. Which note are you looking at? Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of the many small notes that I needed to use a magnifying glass for.
I see what you're saying there. Yeah, that looks like a carryover, so we can clean that up.
Okay, so because originally there was a barn there that was supposed to get moved and then dealt with, so I presume that's not there anymore.
Correct. Yeah. So we can we'll clean that up. I apologize for that.
Yep. And then there is another note that says it says zoning square for reduced frontage lot. It's a red dashed line.
Yeah.
Could you please explain that?
Yeah, and that's a little bit more privy to the A&R plan that we have in front of us. So we have lot 3 is a reduced frontage lot per your bylaw. And under those provisions of the bylaw, the area has to be twice the size of your of zoning. So in this case, greater than 80,000, greater than or equal to 80,000 square feet without the neck, and it has to have a 150 by 150 foot square that can be fit inside it. So that's just to document compliance with that section of your zoning bylaw.
All right. Well, thank you very much for explaining that.
Sure.
Are you okay right now for a minute? I see Nick has his hand up. I wanted to get to Nick, then to Sherry after that. Nick, are you there? Nick?
Yep. Can you
Water Department?
Yes, I do. Thanks for letting me on. I just want to make a couple of points, and really appreciate Kyle Mann coming in and working with the Water Department. That being said, we couldn't approve the plan as presented to you folks. We would never allow four spaghetti line services to come off of a road like that. We've been cleaning up these type of installations throughout the Long Lake area for decades, and it goes against really what our standards are. So I believe Corey Godfrey presented what we would be looking for, which would be water main to the end of that common driveway with the fire hydrant and the services coming off that water main. So just want to make sure that's clear to the planning board, and I appreciate you giving me the chance to comment.
Thank you. Sherry, you want to weigh in a couple of things? I think we're getting pretty close to moving on with this. So do you have anything you want to add? Sherry?
Oh, sorry. Thank the board for deliberating. Do you hear me now?
I can hear. We can hear you.
And I think Greg and Kyle both did a wonderful job of impressing upon the board that there is already the 4-lot subdivision that is approved with 2 driveways serving 2 homes each, so that A&R could be built immediately, I think, even as far as the water goes. So I want the board to just bear in mind that Kyle is trying to improve on that plan of 3 lots sitting very close to Air Road, 3 homes right up against the frontage of Air Road with 2 driveway cuts on the busy street. And those slopes wouldn't be allowed to be reviewed. They wouldn't change under the A&R proposal. So Kyle's before you, trying to make this a more attractive and a more desirable project. And I think that if you send it out for peer review, you'll probably find that the peer reviewer is going to also say that it's a better project. I would ask you, however, in view of a lot of things, the costs of development today and Kyle's youth and he's very experienced as a construction specialist because he's in the septic installation business and he moves dirt around. But Kyle is young and probably not as well capitalized as some of your other builder developers. So I just ask you, in terms of giving the kid a hand up and a help here, if you send it out for peer review, can we limit it to those items that are particular to this particular configuration and are in deference to you? Obviously the slopes, and on the shared driveway, probably the shared driveway, but not the entire major peer review that you might do for a full subdivision, because this isn't. And secondly, bearing in mind that he'll work with the water department, the idea of putting a force main and 8-inch water line on 4 lots in a shared driveway is a little bit excessive, but that's Nick's domain. And so he'll work to satisfy Nick, I hope.
Yeah, I hope we can come to an agreement on that.
Yeah,
but.
yeah. But
Thank you.
he's enthusiastic and he wants to satisfy the board.
Yes, thank you, Sherry. So I'm gonna just close it up. So we're gonna send this, I agree with Sherry that let's limit it to the slopes that are a concern of ours and the road itself. Send it out for a minor peer review with Green Engineering I'll get to you in a second, Jeff, to look at the drainage of the shared driveway and see if they in fact agree that the slopes are stable, or if there's any suggestions that they could make about the stabilization of it. I think to can't waylay all our fears and send it out as Sherry put for a minor peer, minimal peer review, not like a full-blown subdivision or anything else like that. Is the board okay with that, to be forwarding this back?
I think the peer review should include the drainage at the base of the slope next to Air Road.
Oh, the catch basins in the front?
Yeah. Well, they have swales and.
Well, yeah, isn't the drainage going to tie into those? Wouldn't that be considered part of the drainage?
I don't know. I just think that needs to be, that's
Okay.
that's our primary interest, I think, in that.
Okay. Good point. We'll just make sure that how their drainage is going to tie into the swells at the front. Anyone else have any questions or concerns about this? Everybody's shaking their head. So why don't we do this? Why don't we, Myron, why don't we send it out to Green? You have a list and we'll get an idea about the outstanding issues just to help Kyle out with that, to find out if in fact they've done and what they are. And so he knows where it stands on that, about he can go back to the previous owner and make sure that they're taken care of.
And also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm done.
Just when it's appropriate, I just wanted to bring up, if I could, while I still had Nick here, if he is, and we were all discussing amongst the project. I agree with Sherry, and it's a discussion that I've had with Corey and Justin with the water department. This is first Nick's weighed in. Obviously, Corey and Nick work directly together, but I don't know if it's something of discussion now, but I haven't had a chance to talk with Nick, so maybe a good time is to talk now amongst the board. As far as spaghetti lines in relation to the Long Lake neighborhood, this is a completely different plan altogether. These are, I would by no means call these spaghetti lines. Water lines, they come in a roll. They very rarely end up perfectly straight.
Just wait a second. I'll correct me if I'm wrong. You're bringing town water in and you're tapping off a main coming up the road, correct?
Correct.
That's all he was talking about, the old spaghetti lines down at the.
Well, he wouldn't approve the plan the way it proposed. I'd have to run an 8-inch main in with a hydrant, which would bring me beyond actually being able to replace the original plan with this plan due to the cost of unfortunately I like this plan. This plan's much better. It's cost effective. It works for the town. It works for the unusual site that was created to be this way.
So it's my hope that we have a month. We'll put you on for March. By that time, hopefully peer review will be done. By that time, you and Nick can work out the logistics of putting a water line down that tees off and services one T coming off the main road, servicing 4 houses. That's, I think, what we all want to do.
Yes, we'll continue that discussion. Yeah.
Eventually like that. So we'll let you and Nick work that out. And maybe the water department can help just to get.
Yeah, hopefully Nick's available.
You guys can work it out.
Yeah, hopefully Nick's available to schedule a meeting with me in the near future.
I'm sure he is. Okay, so we're gonna send this. Unless anyone has any other issues, we'll send it off to Green. We'll give them a list of what we want them to look at, mostly drainage and the slope, and we'll put you on for March of next month. Is that okay with everyone? Do we need an extension for this, Maren, or are we good?
Don't need an extension for the public hearing, just.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, we'll need a discussion on the A&R.
Okay.
You expect to continue the public hearing till Thursday, February 3rd.
March 3rd.
Thank you. Sorry, Thursday, March 3rd. Dates, time certain. Do you want to do 7 o'clock for this one?
Fine. We'll get you on early.
And we'll be remote again for that meeting.
Yep.
So that'll be via Zoom for the location.
Anything else? Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, everybody.
Extension on the A&R?
Yeah, an extension.
Yeah, it makes no sense, obviously, to have you act on the A&R plan until after the special permit's done. So we're happy to grant an extension for that. I'm happy to put that in writing, but we'll, however I have to word that, we'll extend your time to act on the A&R.
How about if
honor until at least after the March 3rd meeting.
why don't you give us 30 days?
Okay.
All right, that'll be after. Yeah, that'll be after the 3rd.
We'll grant the 30-day extension, and there it is verbally in the public meeting, but I'll put it in writing tomorrow.
Great, thank you. All right, thank you all.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time,
Kyle. All right, we have a 7:15 public hearing, Aquifer Water Resource Special Permit, 15 Air Road. Rendering impervious more than 15%. We're at 18.9. Water Department, I believe, is going to speak. We're getting Nick's double dipping tonight.
Yep, Nick Lawler, General Manager of Littleton Electric Light and Water Department. I believe Corey Godfrey's on. He could speak more to the technical needs of this. You said 15 Air Road. It's obviously 15 Wickham Ave.
Okay, do you want the public hearing notice?
Sure.
Mr. Chair, okay.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
Well, while Corey's on his way in, Town of Littleton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, February 3rd, 2022 at 7:15 p.m. via Zoom to consider the application for a special permit pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 48, and the Code of the Town of Littleton zoning. The application is for an Aquifer and Water Resource District special permit under sections 17361 through 17364. Property location 15 Whitcomb Avenue, map U41, parcel 38. Applicant and owner, Littleton Water Department. The applicant is seeking special permit approvals to install impervious pavement in the Whitcomb Avenue Water Treatment Plant. Application and plans can be viewed at the Planning Board and Town Clerk's office during their business hours or online at the town website. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed plan should attend the Zoom or provide written comment to the Planning Board office. My email address by February 1st, if possible, signed Bartlett Harvey, Clerk.
Great, thank you. So, Nick or Corey, you want to kind of give us an idea what this is all about?
Sure, this is Corey Godfrey. I'll give an overview of the project here. So, thank you for having us tonight. We're here before you with an application for an Aquifer District special permit at 15 Wickham Ave. That is the site of the new water treatment plant that's currently under construction to remove PFAS from Littleton's water supply. We've been before this board several times over the past few years for site plan review and other special permits. So I trust that we're generally familiar with the overall project. I think the last time we were here was about 1.5 years ago when the current site plan was reviewed and approved. And at that time, we intended to proceed with porous pavement in the driveway as sort of a demonstration project. And that kept our impervious surface coverage below the 15% threshold that would require a special permit. But after learning more about the porous pavement product from our site contractor, we've determined that it's really not suited to this particular site, since there will be heavy 18-wheeler trucks turning around on the pavement on a regular basis. And the porous pavement is really not suited to that kind of heavy-duty traffic, and will quickly crumble and no longer serve its intended function, requiring replacement within probably just 1 year or 2, or at least begin to see failure within the first year, according to our contractor and his experience. And so it doesn't provide any environmental benefit beyond what a bioretention basin would provide anyways. So it's really just adding unnecessary cost to the project and the water ratepayers. So the porous pavement comes with an initial increase in installation costs, as well as ongoing maintenance costs. But with this kind of heavy traffic, it would also come with increased replacement costs, as it would not last very long. And so all of this with no environmental improvement at all. So Littleton water customers, they're already bearing the cost of a $16 million treatment plant to remove PFAS. So to us, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to install a product that will just increase those costs even further when we have perfectly good alternatives, such as the bioretention basin that's proposed. So yeah, what we're proposing really saves Littleton water customers money and provides exactly the same benefit that the porous pavement would have. So I'm happy to take any questions that the board may have or members of the public.
Thank you, Corey. Does the board have any questions about it? I don't know if you guys remember when we did the site plan a couple of years ago, we put in some porous pavers as opposed to asphalt, just to keep it below the 15%. They're coming for us. They can 18.9. They're asking us to give them a waiver over 15% to 18.9 to put something a little more stable in there. I think we all kind of trust the water department in their judgment. I think if anyone's going to protect the Littleton water supply, it's going to be the water department. So, in my opinion, this is what they want. I think I'm fine with it. Does anybody else on the board have any questions or concerns? Anna?
I just have a quick question. So this is the exact same amount of pavement, right? We're not adding any additional.
That's right. Yeah, it's the same amount of pavement. It's just standard HMA pavement now instead of porous pavement. I should correct the point. And I think there was a question from a member of the public previously about the number, the percentage. So when we initially filed the application, we had put down 18.9%. And then by the time we had provided the supplementary materials, we realized there was a calculation error. So it's actually 23.6%. Either way, it's over the 15% threshold, but I just wanted to make sure that was clear to everyone.
Thank you. Delisa, do you have any questions or concerns?
No.
You're good, Bartlett?
No, I'm good with the proposal. I'm mildly curious as to what the pervious pavement was that you looked at. Were there different types of pervious pavement?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's different products out there. The major cost with the installation really just comes down to the base that's required underneath it. It's just, additional excavation and stone that needs to go, beneath it for the porous pavement to function correctly. And that's where the increased costs come in there. But in general, porous pavement tends not to hold up well to the heavy duty traffic. It'll do fine with, car traffic and that sort of thing. So like a standard parking lot, but we'll be having frequent, 18-wheelers in there making tight turns to get in and out.
Jeff?
So I'm looking at the you've added the bioretention basin since you decided to go away from the pervious paving. Is that the case?
No, it was actually in the very first original design several years ago now. And we left it there all along, even though we had gone to the porous pavement. We just left that in the design. So now by, reverting back to the standard pavement, we're still keeping that bioretention basin there. It's always been sized to handle 100% of the runoff.
Okay, so, yeah, because I guess it comes down to, I understand why you would have done, both. You are, after all, the protector of our aquifers. So if we approve, going away from our own, regulations, we're relying on your judgment. So,
Yep.
That's all I have to say.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone else have anything they want to add, or do you want to?
Yeah. Mark, can we take a break for about 2 minutes?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
well,
I have to use the restroom. Thank you, Maren.
oh, is that what it was?
I didn't know if I was allowed to.
You could have asked me. You didn't have to ask Mari. Go ahead. Go. All right.
You could have taken your phone into the restroom and.
Got the water department on pins and needles here.
Yeah. No, it's just suspend the hearing for a couple minutes to make sure that she's hears the whole thing and is able to vote on the
I think we're
question.
pretty much ready for a vote when she gets back, I think. If you can't rely on the water department, I guess who can you rely on, right? So, great.
So this is when we need the good jokes ready.
No, I got no jokes. Tomorrow's weather is going to be a joke, it sounds like. Rain.
What's going on there? You're not getting snow?
Oh, sorry, Jeff and Keller.
I know, it's only like, 70 here, so.
I know, we're gonna get a little snow and freezing rain and turn it back to snow. Who knows what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Don't you worry, your pretty little head up. Well,
I know, my neighbor was saying the school's already canceled and.
I'm sure, yeah. I don't
It
think
is.
where it's gonna go right. How long have you been away? Do you know we got 2 feet the other day?
Yeah, we left Friday.
All right.
We missed it. Was it 2 feet? Well, I couldn't figure out how much it
Inches,
was.
depends on,
Yeah, because at first it didn't seem like we were gonna miss most of it. and then
No.
we got it, yeah. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. How long you staying till?
Just, we're coming back Monday.
Oh, all right. By that time, hopefully we'll be back to normal. Who knows?
Yeah. And we're just gonna have sun every day until we leave. Yeah.
Wear sunscreen.
Okay.
Especially that bald head of yours, Jeffrey.
I know. It's
I know,
got I need a hat. I wear a hat. Yeah.
I can't say that. At least,
Yeah.
no.
Anyway.
But anyway.
Mr. Chair, when we return, I see a hand up.
Do you want to bring in Matthew while we wait for Delisa to get out of the bathroom?
I
I
had a joke.
Oh, good. Oh, excellent. She's
All
back.
right.
Why do Norwegian ships have barcodes on them?
I give up. Why didn't Norwegian ships have fire?
When they return to port, they can Scandinavian.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. Very good. Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The highlight of the meeting so far.
All right. All right. So we've got Delisa here. So
Thank you.
does someone want to make a motion to approve what are we giving you? We're giving you not a variance. Yeah, we're giving you a what are we giving them, Maren? A variance for
So let's see, you took comments from the board. I don't see anybody else with their hand raised for
No.
public comments.
Yep.
After that,
So
you would
what-
close
what-
the hearing.
Let's make a motion to close. I'll entertain a motion to close the
Got
hearing.
Matthew Nordhaus with his hand up.
yeah.
I think you got more jokes, Matthew, or do you have a comment?
No, I don't have. I'm sorry. I need to lower my hand.
That was his joke hand he had.
I was looking for another joke.
So I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Anyone-
I'll second it.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor of closing, signify by saying aye. Anna? Yeah, she's an aye. Delisa?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Bartlett?
I,
I'm an aye. I'll entertain a motion to approve the variance to go from 15% impervious to 20,
3.6.
yeah, 20 something .6. Anyone want to make that motion?
Actually, if you would not, instead of granting a variance, you're going to grant the Aquifer District special permit to allow up to 23.6% impervious with the conditions as outlined in the draft decision.
whatever she said. All right, does someone want to make that motion? Lauren can't do it. I know she can't. She can do a lot. She can't do that. Somebody, come on.
Okay, I can make a motion to do what Maren said.
That's a good one. All right, second. Second, somebody? Second?
I'll
Barbie,
second it.
seconded. Delisa, all those in favor? Anna? Delisa?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Bartlett?
I,
And I'm an aye. So you guys are all, should be set to go to put pervious pavers down. Thank you. Thank you
Thank you
all.
all.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, have a good night.
Okay, so we have a 7:30 quick discussion about moving forward with deeply affordable senior housing. I want to start off, I have an apology to make. My intention was not be site specific on the units that I had 2 plans done. My intention was to not have to deal with the land costs that are involved in ground up construction or redevelopment of an existing building. So I should have instructed Maren to take the addresses off, which is forwarded that to you. I don't want anyone to have any notion that I'm talking site specific. I'm not. I'm just talking in general terms of how much more expensive it is to go from ground up as opposed to a renovation project. So that's why I had that done. So I apologize in advance about any confusion that could have caused. Okay. So Maren has linked in some of the things that other cities and towns have done. I did that. Want to talk to the board about how we want to move forward. I don't know if anyone from the select board or affordable housing, there's hopefully 3 of us here, including Anna in that, to try to keep going at some pace moving forward and trying to, not wait another 7 years before we do some sort of affordable housing. So I just want some direction and some guidance from the board. How's that? If you want to just start with it, if you want to start with what I sent you in a synopsis form to go the difference between an existing building to repurpose an existing building, whether it's the mill or DCU building or something, is about $130 per square foot, as opposed to a ground up construction of approximately $385. So it's about a third. As third is expensive if you want truly discounted affordable housing at somewhere around 30% AMI. We've got some other examples from other cities and towns. Obviously, I just want to keep the dialogue going. I want guidance from the board how we keep going, how we keep moving forward, as from a planning board standpoint, and hopefully with Affordable Housing Trust and the select board, if they would like to join us on it, would be great. So, anyway, what's the board's thought so far? I don't want to get into site specific because I don't even think we're there. I'm just trying to think more of from a conceptual standpoint of how we keep moving forward. And I guess maybe then I'll lead in and then you guys can jump in if you want. I think we need to keep thinking about a project because we're only going to get funding if we have a project. I just want to take one step back. I think we all have decided if we're going to do long-term housing in the town of Littleton, it has to be a facility. It has to be a building. It's not a financial thing. We don't have enough money to financially keep it going. I think we all expressed that desire in our last meeting. I just want to make sure that's where we're still going from. My hope is to next month for March's meeting to have some more data available. I'm trying to talk to POA and HUD people and things like that about funding. The next thing, to find out what is out there. And, obviously we're not going to get anywhere until we actually have a project or a concept of what we're going to do, but to find out what kind of funding is available out there. I think every month we should be having it on the agenda to be moving forward that, so we don't have to wait another 7 years. Anyway, I've said my piece. What about the rest of the board? Anna, what are your thoughts?
So I think that the data that was presented, not site specific, if you will, is compelling from the standpoint of repurposing. And I mean, it just makes sense because you don't have to start from scratch. So it makes sense that it costs less money. So that's one thing. The second thing with respect to the examples that were provided, 2 of the towns used CPC dollars, and it looked like the other 2 towns contributed land or a building. So I think it's important to say that every project that goes for deep affordability, the town appears to have some skin in the game, and that requires something. So it either requires the hard dollars as available from a fund like CPC or some other asset that is owned by the town. I see in our attendees list that Select Board member Nordhaus is there. I don't see any other Select Board members. So I wanted to ask, did they actually post this as a meeting to be able to be here?
I don't believe we did.
Okay.
Myron, we did extend the invitation to him, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
But while extending the invitation, does it have to be posted as well?
Yep. So this is not an official meeting. I mean, I can be here in the guise of a regular citizen and not representing the select board, but there isn't a quorum, so it shouldn't be a problem.
What about, did the Affordable Housing Trust post it, Myron?
No, we did not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I would suggest that because of the criticalness of having all 3 of the groups together to be able to have these discussions, that we really try very hard to make sure that we are posting so that there are no hurdles to people being able to come on and hear each other, because it just delays our process. And so by being able to be in the room, even if it's a Zoom room, together, I think that that's so incredibly helpful, so that there aren't any misunderstandings, so that anything that is miscommunicated can get cleared up, because I do believe we all have the town's best interest at heart to try to figure out affordable housing, but we can't do it in silos. And when we are only able to meet like this, it does become siloed, and then it takes time to go to the next board and then time to come back to the next board. So if we can all work on this together, I think that would really be the most helpful to all the residents. So that's my thought right now.
Okay. Elisa? Oh, she's eating. I'll go to Jeff. I'll go to Jeff in California.
This is tangential, but could we have some kind of audit of what happened at Hager Homestead? Because Anna especially worked really hard to achieve affordability for some of those units, and I'd like to know what happened. Did they go to seniors in our town? Did they, that was it was an unusual project in that it was, a developer, the co-housing, the over 55. I'm curious. I want to know what the result was of all the intentions that we had about that.
Okay, yeah.
So that we can inform us for the next project.
Yep, thank you for the question. We're still have not yet started the process for the affordable units.
Okay.
They won't be ready for more than a year.
Okay.
So it'll be some time before the non-market rate units will be available. And we will go through.
But let's remember that was something that we did for this, issue. So.
Exactly.
One more thing you might want to remember, or we need to discuss, is now this Hager is tying into town sewer, correct?
Yeah.
There is a savings involved, and hopefully we can negotiate a little bit of that saving being put to maybe buying down a couple of the units to more of an affordable component. Maybe I think we stopped at 60, and I think we had one at 60, if I remember correctly. I'm getting old. I can't remember the exact spread of how we did the 10 of them, but maybe with the $300,000 savings from not needing a septic system, we can get a little bit more affordability on one end of it, probably the lower end if possible. So we should be probably having that discussion before we get to the lottery process. Just kind of the back burner. Anyway, getting back to mine. Go ahead, Anna.
Well, once everybody is gone, then I'd like to just add one more thing. So go ahead, sorry.
Delisa, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to go back to what Anna had said earlier. I really do agree. I think it's really important that we get select board and the three entities in affordable housing. We've got to all start talking about this and let's get moving on it. But I think the longer we don't get together, I think there's just more room for misunderstanding, more room for duplication, inefficiencies, et cetera.
I agree. And I just want to reiterate one other thing. We've got the state involved now with housing at the train station. We have the lines, we have the other.
Right.
Eventually, questions are going to be asked of us about density and everything else. So the sooner that we start working on what we have, what the town assets are and what we have to offer, the better off I think we're going to be moving forward. Bartlett, did you have a question or concern?
I guess just a comment that the economics of the construction of new buildings versus renovations is kind of compelling. On the other hand, if you do new construction, you can, make it net zero and do a whole bunch of sort of modern construction things that make buildings livable and progressive and easy to maintain. So it works both ways. I mean, I would again add there's a low-income housing development in Dennis called Melpit Farms that I saw a couple of years ago, where it's net zero ready. I guess I don't think they had panels up, but it was a beautiful development of 27 units on land that was donated by the town. So that was the town skin, but it was developed for a reasonable cost, maybe 2% over what the normal construction cost was. So there's advantages both ways.
There's a lot. I just wanted to bring up one last thing. Then I'm going to ask Matthew, because since he was kind enough to sit in on our meeting, then I'll ask what his thoughts are. But the other part of the thing that was sent out that I had Maren send out was doing this, the town of Littleton actually eventually owning it. If we do deeply affordable at $9 million, I think it costs the 30-year mortgage on it, $9,000, $41,000 a month. That works out to, my basis was all 75 units, $555 a month is what you would charge for rent for these units. So definitely in the 30% AMI. So we have a lot of different ways that we can look at doing this. We can fund it ourselves. We can get funding from HUD. We can get funding from a lot of different agencies. I agree with everyone. We need everybody to get together and come up with a project so that we're not waiting another 7 years like Keith asked us in 2016 to start looking at what they did in Carlisle. We need to be more proactive about it than reactive. That's my whole thing. And having said that, Matthew, do you have anything else you want to add since you were nice enough to sit in on the call?
I generally agree that it's pretty obvious to me that starting with land or a building is the only way to go if we want to make it deeply affordable. I'd be hesitant to commit to being the owner of this as the town until we talk to FinCom and other towns. In being involved in the housing authority, I see the level of effort it takes to manage a bunch of units, and it's very significant. And I worry that the overhead of that would be, would negate any benefit of the town owning it. So I would, we should talk to FinCom, and but I would probably lean towards us not being the owner manager of the place. I think we should find someone to build it for us.
I agree, but why not give it back to the Housing Trust once we're done with it? Not the Affordable Housing Trust, the Littleton Housing Trust. Give them the units once we're done so they can manage them while they're managing all the other ones that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just, all I'm trying to say is there's a lot of different ways. And once we get in this and we really get in it, there's a lot of different ways to get funding for this.
Yeah.
And to do something finally nice for the seniors in the town of Littleton. I think that's the bottom line.
I agree.
Anyone else? Oh, Anna, you had one more thing you wanted to talk about. Sure.
So I wanted to say that of the 4 different properties that were highlighted to us as benchmarks, if you will, I had the opportunity to visit 3 of them. When I first started on the planning board, a senior in town took me around to a couple different developments, including some of these, and we were able to talk to folks in 2 of them. And the one thing that really stood out in my mind is how much coordination needs to happen. And obviously it does take a lot of time, a lot of years to make something like this happen, but the coordination is really truly key. And it made me think about something that I wanted to just put out there. Each of the groups, including FinCom, like Matthew just brought up, has its responsibilities. And I think it's important that if we can outline almost like a process as to what this would look like, and maybe Maren and Joe with their respective expertises could outline a process for us that we would have to undertake, and then which of our respective groups would then sort of take the lead on that particular area. I mean, with the select board having its stewardship of the town buildings, right? I mean, it makes sense with the Affordable Housing Trust having an eye to the number of affordable units. So everybody has their own area of expertise and responsibility. So if Maren and Joe could perhaps outline that in advance for all of us to take a look at, maybe that would be helpful. I don't know. I mean, we have a couple business folks on our planning board here. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out a way to be efficient about this. What do you guys think?
It never hurts to get as much information, as much help as we can. I think we all need all the boards to work together like we did with the sewer, like we did with the rezoning. We did a great job with that, and I hope that we can all sit down and address this and work together to get that going. It's the project is more important than all of us individually working on. We need to be all rowing in the same direction, and we need to finally do something. And I think we have the ability now with the state looking at us and everything else. We have a golden opportunity here to finally be able to do something deeply affordable for the seniors. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I just need, it's fine for us to talk. It's time for us, all the boards, to talk. If we're using town resources, we have to get a town meeting, approval. So I think maybe we ought to look for ways to communicate our priorities, because it is not a priority for a lot of people in town who pay taxes. So, let's look for ways to, because we can do everything and it goes to town meeting and isn't approved. So we need to bring people along with this view. I don't know how that's done, but we can look for opportunities.
I think it's important to the seniors. Most of the people that go to town meeting, when you go there, they've historically been the people that have supported most everything in town, and they're the ones who are crying for. They want to stay in Littleton, and there's no place for them. There's no place affordable for a large, and we can sit and ask Affordable Housing Trust how much we need. The lady was on last month's call. If you build it, they will come. I don't think we can build enough to satisfy the need that's going to be out there. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near where we're hoping to get to. We just need to make a start at it and go from there. Maybe it's a lot of smaller ones, or we don't know. We just need to go down that road. One last thing, Maren, can you send out an email to everyone you forwarded all the stuff to and correct the fact that it should not have been, it's my fault for not making sure that you were aware that I didn't really want it to be site specific. I don't want anyone to think that myself or the planning board has decided this is what we're doing. It's just an illustration and an exercise in the difference different costs associated with different ways of building that. So just make sure that they're aware. I sent one of the select board members asked me about it, and I sent him. But if you could send it to everybody that you sent it to as a correction, that would be great. So there's no confusion.
Yep, thank you.
The board have anything else until we meet next month? I think we're
Well,
good.
I just wanted to comment to thank Maren for, again, all of the work to put the packets together and, having the motions to be able to look at those and review it. It's all just really great. And especially, I think in this week, Lucia is out. So the fact that Maren is once again having to do double duty to do her job plus that of Lucia's as well. So thank you, Maren.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One last thing, Maren. If Muhammad won't come to the mountain will come to Muhammad. Why don't we have a joint meeting with the select board if we have to go there to meet with them? If they, maybe we can do it live or something like that. I'm all for all of us being there. And since most of us are on the Affordable Housing Trust, they'll overlap. If we have to go to the select board to talk about this, I'm okay with that. I don't know how the rest of the board feels. It doesn't matter whose meeting it is, right? So
Right.
So if they don't want to, if they want to add us to their agenda, I think we can do it that way. How's that? Make it easy.
Yep, and a lot of time there's a time after the intense budget process, and that there's time for these discussions.
I mean, I'm away from that till the 24th of February, but if they want to do it before our March 3rd meeting, I'm good after the 24th. But extend the opportunity either way. How's that? Try to make it as easy and accommodating as we can. Anyway, okay, I've wasted enough of your time. It's after 8 o'clock. I will entertain a motion to dissolve the planning board meeting of tonight and see everybody in a month. What?
I'll second it.
Adjourn it, absolve it, dissolve it, whatever we do. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Good. Thank you all. Enjoy.
Thank you. Have fun in Hawaii.
Thank you. I'll force myself to,
Yeah, I know. Twist your arm. Have a good time.
Bring sunscreen. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
See ya. Bye.